What if you had a superpower that sent you back to your childhood? I'm talking peak cringe. You know, the moments that still wake you up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat? I know I wouldn't want to be there because some of that I used to do still keeps me up at night. Today, we're going to be talking about Erased. Now, usually I'm the one taking recommendations and reviewing them, and sure, I can be pretty harsh, but today you guys get to flame me for my recommendation. Before we dive in, this review will have spoilers. So if you haven't seen Erased, go watch it, come back, and thank me later. And trust me, this anime is worth the time travel trauma. Alright, let's jump in. So, I have reviewed now 8 anime on my channel, 7 of which have continued on with their series and had more than 12 episodes. But today, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to pick an anime that's easy to digest and personally my favorite 12-episode anime. So let's start with the first impact an anime can make on you. It's music. Now, normally I would start this with the openings and endings, but no, this time those are saved for later. No, we're talking about the thing that gives the anime its atmosphere, its very soul. Composed by Yuki Kajiura, you may know her from some of her works such as Demon Slayer, Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, and Sword Art Online. This soundtrack isn't just one of those you hear and forget, it's one you feel. The first song you hear in this anime is soft and melancholic, almost like a piece that's been restrained. It sounds complete, but there's this lingering sense of something unfinished, like a memory you're not ready to face. That's what makes it perfect. It's Satoru, full of regret, emotionally mute, just barely holding on. But when danger creeps in or hope breaks through, the music evolves and it's stunning. From terror to hope, it carries the entire emotional journey. It's like the anime's narrator. Before the characters can get a word out, it tells you how to feel. It's quite honestly one of my favorite aspects of this anime. But let's talk about my favorite, the opening and ending. When I say that this opening is genuinely my favorite opening of any anime I've ever watched, I mean it. Riri by Asian Kung Fu Generation is absolute fire. I don't know if you can tell, but I do not speak Japanese, but I do know every word to the song. Okay, well, I try. In all seriousness, this song has something so special to it that's hard to put into words for me. I have put over 5,000 minutes into this song, over 900 streams. That equates to roughly 83 hours of listening to this one song. Does that make me crazy? I hope not, but I genuinely cannot express how much I love this song. Every little thing about it, from the bass to the drums to the guitar and the vocals, it all felt so familiar to me even on my first listen. It quite literally felt like deja vu. I think it's so fitting for an anime that's wrapped around that theme. It's perfection. For the ending, we have Soriwachi Sana Hikari no Yona by Sayuri. Compared to the opening's energy, it slows things down, but that doesn't mean it hits any softer. It's a beautiful song that captures Satoru's quiet battle and the hope he starts to feel for Kaio. The lyrics have this deeply personal feel that's hard to ignore. It's one of those endings that makes you sit in silence just to appreciate its beauty. Sayuri was a phenomenal artist, and her work here is a perfect example of why fans continue to love her. Speaking of incredible work, let's talk about this anime's production. Erased was produced by Studio A1 Pictures, which kind of have a stacked lineup. From one of its most recent projects, Solo Leveling, to Sword Art Online, Love is War, Your Lie in April, I could go down a pretty long list here. There's a reason Erased holds up so well after 9 years. It's just got really great production quality. For an anime with little action, the movements of the characters are fluid and the outlines and drawings are crisp and appealing to look at. It's little things like it's always snowing or smoke coming from the factories or cars or people moving that make it feel alive. So many anime nowadays literally just focus on the main characters themselves, but they tend to lack inclusion of background characters or their activities and can ruin a bit of the immersion. I get it, sometimes they have to pan away to save money or not focus on drawing other characters, but it's details like that that can take the production up a notch. Sure, we know that the people and the world look good, but let's see if the characters are worth a damn. Satoru Fujinuma is a very relatable character. He aspires to be something more, something bigger. But Satoru also has this gift that allows him to change people's lives, and for someone who seems so nonchalant about what happens around him daily or who he interacts with, he genuinely cares for people even if he doesn't know them. His selflessness and sacrifice are what make him my favorite character. He doesn't hesitate to help those in need. Satoru's mom, Sachiko Fujinuma, is honestly fighting for first with Satoru on my list though. Unlike some anime parents who up and leave, Sachiko is always there for Satoru, supporting him every step of the way, no matter if he's an adult or a kid. Their dynamic is one of my favorite parts of the anime. She plays such a significant role in Satoru's continuing battle to make things right. He wants to not only save Kaio, but also his mom. Kaio is very reserved and shy. She's afraid to be vulnerable because she doesn't want to be hurt any more than she already has. Her trauma from the abuse she'd endured made her into a shell. To see Kaio gradually start to open up and enjoy life because of Satoru and the group was one of the best arcs of the anime. I love the group dynamic with Satoru's friends Hiromi, Osamu, Kazu, and Kenya. Kenya is my favorite of the group because that kid was literally Sherlock Holmes. Jokes aside, the group is what brings the anime some good old-fashioned lightheartedness and makes it more enjoyable. I also just love their dialogue. I love that they talk like actual kids, like awkward, kinda cringy, kinda funny, but they're getting a point across, kinda like me. Whereas some anime have literal kids or teenagers that are just a bit older than these, talking like straight up adults or not doing anything kids would be doing, which I think is perfect for this story. It immerses you further into the world. Airi is a small but significant character. I think a lot of what Satoru goes through is driven by her support. Sometimes all it takes is just having that one person who believes in you when no one else does. Obviously, Satoru didn't go through everything just for Airi, but it was enough for him to not give up in a seemingly already lost battle. And now for the nicest teacher in all of anime, Gaku Yashiro. This guy was a menace. On the outside, a sweet, charismatic, caring teacher who was protective of his students, but on the inside, a dark, conniving killer who was merciless towards his victims. His kindness towards his students allowed him to create openings and moments where he could take control. He was incredibly manipulative, but his charisma and intellect were what kept him concealed. I think he was fantastic for the story, even with the pretty obvious hints that it was him. Yashiro played a massive role in continuing the suspense because he was never really where you'd think he was, which made it all the more interesting because the answer was there from the beginning, but you didn't have anything to prove your suspicions. Each of these characters played a crucial part in making this story, but what really brings it together is how the story keeps you engaged even when you know the answer. I think as far as the story goes, it's well executed. I'm not quite sure how Satoru's power works. It's just one of those things that you really have to push past because there's really nothing that explains why he has it, or the capability to suddenly go back 18 years instead of 1 to 2 minutes. But it's not really about why Satoru has the power, but how he uses it. I can't lie, Satoru kept his cool way better than I would have been able to. The sheer pressure that is on you to fix that problem would crush me. Not only that, but all of a sudden being transported 18 years into the past, where the norm is only 1 to 2 minutes, I would go into the fetal position. And now you spend literal days trying to solve a mystery as a child. I think what kept me engaged was that it wasn't just Yashiro against Satoru, it was kind of life against Satoru. As a kid, he didn't have all the capabilities to really go after this adult who's 20 years older. So when Satoru didn't succeed the first time, it wasn't really that Yashiro had planned it or that there was a bigger mystery, it was that Satoru had forgotten a piece of the puzzle and didn't plan things out quite right the first time. Remember, Satoru was thrown into the situation with barely any idea of what was going on. But bro, Kenya was on some demon time. This kid was insane, literally giving advice to Satoru. What 10-year-old just has the intuition to figure out what Satoru was working on? Crazy work. But then we've got the MVP of Erased, and that is Sachiko Fujinuma. There's a reason she's on that list right there, even 9 years later. She's the GOAT for being so supportive. She listened to Satoru years later after the incident and still looked into it. She didn't just brush it off, she was like, wait, you know what? He's got a good point. And the sheer will to look after your son for 15 years and every single day do 4 hours of physical therapy is insane. Like, it's kind of hard to top that as an anime mom or even parent. I'm so glad that throughout the anime, Satoru had really come to appreciate what his mom had done for him. It was really sweet. Now, I know a few people complained that Kaio didn't get with Satoru, instead she got with Hiromi. But let me say this, Satoru's whole point in doing this was to save Kaio, Aya, Hiromi, who were the original 3 victims, and his mom. Let me repeat, save them. This was a grown man working on this. It would have been pretty weird if he tried to set that up. I get it, Airi was out of left field, and yes, I did have to do a bit of math at the end there, but I'll leave that up to the viewer to decide. Now, I know people also complained about Yashiro being so obvious, but like, come on. Yashiro's reveal was straight fire. Bro was not letting Satoru go.
Do something! Do something!
And the final confrontation scene on the rooftop between Yashiro and Satoru was peak writing.
I've been roaming around, always looking down at all I see.
Sure, Erased isn't the best mystery anime of all time with plot twists that'll fry your brain. It's got soul, it's got suspense, and it's got a great cast. So with all of that out of the way, here's what I think of Erased. Erased was the 4th anime I had ever watched, right behind Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Your Lie in April. Yeah, sure, maybe there's some nostalgia behind this rating, but years later and multiple rewatches, it slaps every single time. People will always say manga is better, but I think this is still a great adaptation, even with its faults. It goes quick, sure, but for 12 episodes, I think it's amazing. Erased isn't perfect, but it's fun, memorable, and hits you in the feels. I give Erased a 9 out of 10. What about you? Was Erased the mystery thriller you hoped for, or was it a bit of a letdown? Let me know down below. If you liked the video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It'd mean a lot. If you guys have any recommendations and want to hear my thoughts, let me know down in the comments. I have a ton of ideas for new projects, such as a Haikyuu video, Dr. Stone, maybe even the first season of Tokyo Ghoul. If you guys want to see any of those, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. And now, for the nicest teacher in all of anime. Oh, wow, okay.